Hello, I'm fursuiter,
And I'm Denzel. Hello.
and we are here with another episode of Photographers Cast. Pencil, do you remember what we finished with last time?
Yes, we stopped at on confidence, wasn't it? About how to approach
Yep,
fursuiters.
you were wondering specifically about a person that commissioned you, actually maybe twice, and never used any of your pictures, and you were saying that you are doubting if it liked the pictures.
Yes, actually, yes. I remember.
And honestly, my opinion is that confidence is one of the things that a lot of photographers are struggling with a lot, and your point of view feels kind of symptomatic. Honestly, can you imagine that somebody doesn't like your results but still commissions you again?
It really depends. I have had that happen so far where it was like, okay, are you really sure that you want to commission me again? And I asked them, and they were like, oh, I can imagine it will be better this time. Which
Okay.
is, I appreciate the confidence. I appreciate the approach of the other person, but it doesn't really feel that good.
I have to admit, this never happened to me, and I have to admit it would really undermine my confidence as well if he came with, okay, maybe this time it's going to get better. Uh,
I,
did you do it?
Yes, of course. I have thought about it as well because that is a very interesting approach to say it like that. But it probably was just a response to my what I would say self-deprecation, where I was like, okay, yeah, I haven't really.
Self-deprecation
Hmm?
is a huge thing for a lot of photographers. It's definitely happening to me a lot, and I'm pretty sure that I'm not the only one. So I was wondering how you feel about this, and it seems that it's fairly similar. I'm almost never really sure that my pictures are good. I'm always doubting if the result is good enough because I'm asking for money, and what if the other party is not going to like it? And this is something I'm struggling with for basically since I started photographing. How are you coping with this? Or is this the feeling that you are having?
I would say the self-deprecation is it that is my type of humor that is probably dampening how people perceive me as a photographer and my work when I'm doing my jokes more or less about the let's say, yeah, okay, this one was not so good and this one was not so good and this could be better. It's always the fact that it kind of undermines not your own confidence itself, but how the other person perceives your confidence. Meaning that when you tell the other person that you might not like this photo and might not like that photo, that the other person will thus also copy your sentiment about the photos that you shared with them onto other
Mhm.
photos as well, which kind of creates this problem where it's a negative feedback loop. And I think,
Exactly. This is something that I'm also struggling with. And originally, I would normally finish the photo shoot and say people that it's going to be really bad. Well, fortunately, I was mostly photographing for my friends, and they knew me, so they knew that when I'm saying it's going to be really bad, it's not going to be bad at all. It's really going to be good. I have a certain specific moment when I was for the first time I was photographing in a studio. I rented a studio with the professional lights, and I was super excited about doing a photo shoot. And I went there with a friend, and at that point I was already charging money, so we've agreed on my usual rate. And then when I finished the photo shoot, I looked at the pictures and I could tell that they are really, really, really bad. They were bad. And I came to him, I showed him the pictures, and I was like, okay, I can see that this didn't work. I'm sorry, I'm inexperienced. I have no idea how to photograph in a studio. And maybe we can agree that we will like split the cost of the studio and I'm not going to charge you anything. And what do you think his reaction was?
of course, he copied it. Of course.
Actually, no. He said, these are the best pictures I've ever seen.
Really?
Yes, the thing is that as photographers, we are seeing the pictures in completely different way than the customers. I'm talking about our semi-professional work. If we are going to make an advertisement campaign for a company with a director of photography, then of course he's going to be looking at your pictures in a professional way. But most of the people that we are working for are used to photos from a phone. They see thousands of pictures from a phone everywhere on social networks, random snapshots that nobody thinks about at all. And what you are delivering is actually usually a level better, which it doesn't mean that you should abuse this. I'm definitely not saying that we should slack and we should not do our best. But the thing is that if you are feeling the pictures are bad, there is a very good chance that the uh, customer or client is going to see them at very worst as okay, because they are still much better than the stuff that he's used to.
Yeah, that's a fair point. We've had it last episode where we were talking about the fact that you create photos simply for the people themselves, despite not being creatively challenging. For example, the same statues, the same locations, the same spots, and everything like that. Same probably applies to just delivering your average work, I'd say. I mean, our expectation that you probably have as well, where you just have to deliver one step better each time because you yourself are improving each time, of course. So you can't just deliver one more average shot. It is kind of this artistic, let's just say, eagerness to keep improving, keep delivering better. And this kind of
Exactly.
dampens the mood, doesn't it?
And there is one more thing I want to mention, and that's not necessarily out of my own head. I've read it somewhere, but I have to very much agree with it. The customer doesn't know what you wanted to do. What very often happens to me is I look at my pictures and I'm like, this is not what I expected. This is not what I hoped for. I had an idea in mind and it didn't work. So the conclusion, I've messed up. This is botched. He's going to hate me. But the thing is that the pictures are very often still good. They are just not good the way that you want it. And if you don't tell the customer I've messed up because they are not the way I want it, he's just going to see pretty good photos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's also my experience so far because whenever I was saying like, okay, I don't like this one, this, then we get back to the point that the customer will always think about, okay, the photographer doesn't like it. So of course I copy this thought and this
Mm,
reflection and will put it on the work that I received and be like, okay, yeah, okay, he's right for this and this reason. And then we're basically offering them reasons to not like our work, which is
exactly.
hard to overcome, really.
It's hard to overcome, and you have to do that actively. I know that it's a good way of venting your insecurity. That you tell the customer, I've messed up, so that he can't tell, oh, these are horrible, because you are saying, I know they are horrible. But the thing is that there is no reason to prime him to feel that they are horrible, because they most of the time they aren't. You are just insecure about them. So there's no reason fretting too much. Smile, give them the pictures, and if they don't like them, then that's relevant because they have either they are paying you or they have spent time with you, and if they don't like the pictures, maybe it's time to think of some form of compensation. I will do them again, or I will return the money, or you say, well, they look fine to me. I'm sorry that I didn't really meet your expectations. But either way, if you are working for a client, not for yourself, those are different things. When you are making pictures for your own good, it's different than when you are working for a client. But if you deliver the pictures and the client says they are fine, I like them, then you should trust him. Don't fret about whether you have achieved what you wanted to achieve.
Yeah, but this achievement is kind of what's moving the photographer in its art form, to put it like that. Because when you think about it, you go to photo shoots with a clear, most of the time probably with a clear idea of what you want to achieve. You see the fursuiter, you've talked about the goals and expectation that you both have. Mainly like the client, for example, let's put it like that, demands some dreamy, glossy pictures in nature, and suddenly it's already winter and no nature is still available. So you're like, okay, how do I make it work? And this is also part of the confidence, I'd say, to just be like, why not use the scenery with the fallen off leaves and just the branches and try to make it glossy like that. But this confidence in actually selling that and not just feeling it in the moment, but also sticking it through it from the photo shoot to the editing to the delivery and to the, let's just say, discussion afterwards, it's hard. It's very hard, isn't it? Or is it
I don't
easier
know.
for you?
Well, for one, most of the clients I work with don't have a very specific idea of what they want. I very often ask them, "Is there something specific you would like? Is there specific pose, specific mood?" And most of the time they say, "I will leave that on you. I'm confident that you will manage it," which of course is making me internally scream because that's like, "Oh no, what if I mess up?" But most of the time, you know what you are doing. Uh, Even if you are a beginner, you probably have better idea how to pose, how to compose than the client, and this is why you are doing the photo shoot and he's being a model. So if he has a specific idea that he goes for and you are not able to deliver it, then I don't think this is about confidence. That's just common sense. Like, tell him this is not possible here. I can see what you want. We can do it in autumn, or we can do it in studio or whatever, or we can't do it. I'm sorry, I'm not able to deliver. Don't take commissions you are not able to fulfill, or if you take them, take it as a challenge, but then you have to expect that you may fail.
Yeah, I think this sudden winter example was not the best one to select. But in theory, yes, I have to agree there. But it also seems that we have different customers, if I may say it like that, or different clients, because most people I'm talking to, it might also be communication or my persistent nagging to get information out of them. I typically have some kind of idea what they want to achieve, either just a general setting, like I want to be close to the main hotel during a con and don't want to travel far. That also limits the availability. Or they have complete ideas like they want to have some topic covered, something like I want to have people involved in the photo. I want to be filmed during, or photographed, not filmed, around the area where I interact with my friends and people and being on the dance floor, for example, and having pictures there or wanting to engagement shoot and everything like that is typically what I get as a result. So I have some broad sense of putting it into a general idea where the photo should be going to, you know?
But that doesn't sound to me like a technical thing. That sounds like they give you directions like, I want these people in, I want this location. This is fine. But it
Mhm.
doesn't say anything about what the pictures should be looking like. And I think that if you deliver them and they pay you, basically, or if they say they are okay, or if they put them as their profile picture. If they put it as their profile picture, you have won. You know that they are.
It's true. That's one of the biggest compliments one can get. But isn't
Mhm.
isn't the technical aspect similar to the general approach of it and the confidence? Because when you do it technically right, as in everything fits in the photo, and the setting is also correct, shouldn't that basically all, let's say holistic approach and a complete approach fit together? Like when the photo is technically wrong, with all technicalities, it also means that the setting doesn't matter. And if the setting is just wrong and the technical sense is correct, then the photo itself also won't be accepted. Or what do you think about it?
This is actually another another huge topic that would be worth a full episode, in my opinion. But again, I think that you should. I'm talking from a perspective of a photographer who doesn't see into his customers' minds. But from my experience, their view of pictures is very different from yours. If you take a photo and edit it and then put it into a photographers group, there is a good chance that they are going to say, you are having clipping here, and there is a branch sticking in here, and there is a car at the back that is breaking the composition, and I would put it 3 centimeters to the left, it would look better. Because we are photographers, we are looking at the technical aspects, and we want the picture to be perfect. And then there is the customer, and he sees his fursuit in a nice place with nice light. and maybe in an angle he wouldn't think of or in light he wouldn't think of. And he's very likely not going to care that there is a car in the back or there is a branch sticking in. He's just seeing a pretty picture. And he wanted a pretty picture. He didn't want academically clean picture that is perfectly complying to all photographic standards.
So the old saying F8 and B there still applies for regular fursuit photo shoots?
I would say so.
Hmm. I mean, most of the time, of course. Then again, I don't feel personally very, very happy with the results that are not technically perfect, despite also having to deliver them sometimes because I know, of course, with a sensible look at it, the person commissioning the client, they just want the photo, even if it isn't perfect, because for most cases, let's be real, it will be used for social media and put on
Exactly.
there and probably forgotten in 2 or 3 months.
Exactly. If you feel that you have botched, then smile and give them the pictures. And if they say, I don't like it, then okay, you have probably botched. And like I said, try to find a way to compensate them. But from my experience, 90% of time, the pictures aren't really bad. You are just, you have expected something else from yourself. And the problem isn't that the pictures are bad, but they are not fulfilling your creative vision. But they are perfectly fine for the client and he's going to be happy with them. It's not like you are cheating them, you are giving them something bad and they don't recognize it. You are just probably aiming for something they never wanted in the first place.
Of course, and maybe they will like it. That's very possible.
And if there is a very, very high chance that they are going to like it much better than you.
Hmm. If I would count the photos that I personally sent out but didn't like, yeah, and those are top most of the time the photos that people most used and most liked. So, or the first,
That actually only proves my theory that you are expecting something else from the picture than the client. First time I had a paid photo shoot, I've made some pictures I was really proud of, and I've sent them to the client, and he said, "Wow, that's awesome. There are some pictures I wouldn't even imagine are possible to take." And I inflated. I was like, "Okay, and what's your favorite one?" And he sent me a picture that I wanted to throw away, but I didn't have enough material, so I sent it to him.
mm,
In my opinion, it was the worst one, and he was most excited because it had candlelight.
yeah, and I really don't know why.
I know why, because it was a huge fursuit, had all the details, candlelight, he's excited. And the pictures I was super proud of were full of settings. He was sitting on a lonely train track, and there was grass growing around and it looked moody, like he was waiting for a train that never arrived. And I was full of myself, super happy about the atmosphere, but he wanted a huge picture of his head.
Just for a profile picture or any other reason?
He just likes it because he wants to see his huge face. He has a fursuit, he's proud of it. He doesn't want a picture of rusty rails.
Uh,
I mean, he probably can use a picture of rusty rails, but this is a difference in perspective. I've taken probably thousands of big head in the middle of a frame portraits. For me, they are boring because they are very similar. I keep taking them over and over and over. This is photographer's perspective. And then there is client's perspective. He wants to show people, look, I have a really, really cute expression. I have this wonderful fursuit hat. I'm very proud of it. And look, there is candlelight that is making my fur shine.
I can see that, yeah. We kind of dance around the same thing, that we just have to imagine not ourselves in the shoe of a photographer, but in the shoe of what would the client, the person that would take the photos of, would want, yeah. Mhm.
And this is why I'm saying that I don't feel like we are going to cheat them if you just like don't tell them you should hate these pictures. Because
Mhm.
very often it's you that is hating them, not him.
Yeah, the photographer is hating it, not the client.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Interesting.
Actually, when it comes to confidence, I think there was a much worse problem for me. Have you ever had a breakdown over a photo shoot? Like you were so desperate that you just broke down?
How do you define breakdown?
I started crying, for example.
Oh,
Not in front of client. Not in front of client. I finished the photo shoot. I went back to my room on a con, and I just started crying because I was like, "Oh no, he's going to kill me. This is so terrible. So much time, so much effort, and just really, really bad pictures."
luckily not so far. Not so far. Is it the story about the pier, if I'm not mistaken?
No, I'm going to save that for the end. But
Oh,
that is just one of many. It happened to me on NFC that I was photographing, and I had a really good idea, and I had some external lights, so I've taken some pictures, and they looked really good on the screen of the camera. And then I went back to my room. I've put the card into laptop. I took a look and realized that I've misfocused.
all
And
of
I
it?
went like I've taken a look like at 5 pictures, and they were misfocused, and I was like, they're going to kill me. And besides, this was such a good idea, and I've messed it up so badly. This is horrible, and I just completely broke down. My friend had to comfort me. I went to visit her in her room and was talking about what a lousy photographer I am. And then I've taken the pictures home, and I had time to actually look at them. And honestly, I had to do some Frankenstein work because I was taking face from another picture that had other problems, and I was transplanting it to the picture that I really liked light wise. But in the end, it worked. It worked very well. I had very nice pictures, and there was absolutely no reason to break down. This is something that I would like. If you are emotional like this, which I am, then my personal lesson is either don't look at the pictures at all during the con, or wait with breaking down till you see them all at home. Because very often, even if it seems like everything is lost, you are probably going to have some pictures there. But if you just take a quick glance because you have a con to run and more photo shoots to do, then you are going to needlessly torture yourself about how messed up the work is, and it actually isn't.
But was it because of a technical issue, or did you use manual focus and were like, okay, I've not paid enough attention to the focus itself? Or was it completely fine?
It focused somewhere else than I expected. I was. It happens, especially with the DSLRs. The mirrorless seem to be much better in this, but DSLRs, I was in a habit of taking 3 taps of every picture because sometimes it just decided to focus on something completely else. So this is what happened, and I had like 10 pictures, and I've taken a look at 5, and all of them were misfocused,
Hmm.
and then there was one that wasn't.
And this one you used for Frankenstein operations to
Mhm.
get it.
I have taken the face and I have transplanted it to another picture, which had much better light, and the result was fine.
Oh, I would actually have to see this. I'm now extremely curious about this photo because it's very interesting.
It's not going to be all that interesting. You just take a piece of picture and cut it out and paste it into another picture, and then make sure that uh, the edges are not too obvious, which is not that difficult, especially if you are working with shallow depth of field.
Hmm. I mean, of course, it will be all out of focus, so it's basically focus stacking with extra steps, isn't it?
Yeah, in a way. But yeah, the main point I wanted to stress out is if you feel that you have messed up, wait till you see the pictures on big screen, and then you will see if you did or not.
Mm-hmm. I also wrote down that we would probably have to talk when we're talking about confidence about the fact how to approach fursuiters even.
Let's talk about it because this is something that I know is bugging a lot of, especially beginners. How to approach a fursuiter, because what if he doesn't want to be photographed?
Mm-hmm. Because then he would have to tell you. Technically, hopefully. Because that's also what while I do feel a bit worried about the results that I do and the things that might come up that I didn't plan for, approaching people to get the photos of them or being like, oh, I like your fursuit, can I take a photo of you? That's basically all I have to say. And they'll typically, in most cases, just be like, okay, why not? I've got the time, I've got the 5 minutes. And if I got a special idea, like, okay, I want to have you 500 meters this direction, do you have 15 minutes for it? For example, I can still ask them that, and they would probably either be like, okay, I'm overheating, I can't do it right now, or just follow up until this direction and let's see where it takes me. I've had both
The
of them.
real question is, why would you worry about approaching him?
Most people worry about the rejection of it. And they feel like it will sound creepy, it will sound odd, it will sound weird, it will sound whatever. And they kind of have this fear that it will cause negative consequences when they approach people for that. Most of the
I
time.
will offer
Hmm?
I will offer a point of view of a little, slightly neurotic photographer, which is my case because I had this fear as well originally. And again, it's the fear of failure, that you are not going to deliver wonderful photos because you are having professional camera. So of course, if you ask him to pose for you, he's expecting super professional work, and it's not true because they get stopped by photographers and asked for a picture all the time. 95% of fursuiters are super eager to be photographed because for one, it's interaction, for two, it's appreciation, and for three, they get the pictures. And a lot of them never see the pictures because a lot of photographers are just not going to send them anything. So if you mess up, then you don't have to send them the pictures. So my recommendation is don't worry. You are not going to be rejected, and you are probably not going to fail for the reasons that we've already talked about, because he's not really expecting you to deliver something that is going to go into a gallery. He just wants a picture of himself looking good. If you are able to provide shallow depth of field, then he's going to be overjoyed because, yay, this art. Just go, approach them, they are going to agree.
And even if it doesn't work out, at least from my experience, you can just send him the pictures that he didn't like or that didn't turn out in your opinion, and they're either like overwhelmed because they even get one or two pictures and haven't gotten any during the whole convention. That also happens quite a lot when you look in the chats, and people are like, oh, who's taken a picture of me? Can you send them over? And nobody ever does. Nobody ever has, because they were either not fursuiting out long enough, or they're not in the spots where the photographers run around or those that deliver
Exactly.
the photos. And
Exactly. There is a huge chance that not only he will like your pictures, even if you don't think they are stellar, but they will be very happy that he has any pictures at all.
and one more important point to consider: when you actually send a photo out like blurry and not well made and everything like that, depending on the person and the fursuit and the character that you've interacted with, maybe they're like, okay, let's try it another time and we'll take the few minutes to get some photos at some special place, like during the convention or outside of the convention if you live close by, which could also benefit both the fursuiter and you, especially if you're starting out and haven't really gotten any photos of fursuiters. And this could be a time for print photo shoot type of situation, where you get some photos and they get some photos. You got a portfolio and they got some, let's say, content to put on social media. Maybe even to print on their walls. So it's a win-win.
I have to admit that this is something that we don't exactly agree on. When I really mess up, and it sometimes happens, when I have only blurry pictures to offer, then I'm not going to send him anything.
Even if it's just a more or less spontaneous idea between on the fly.
Even then,
Even
I don't really like sending out botched photos. This is a nifty trick. If you only show your good photos, then it looks like you are only taking good photos.
okay.
And the fact that you throw away 99% of what you have taken doesn't really matter.
Okay, that's also a fair point. I was thinking about when it's a paid photo shoot, for example, I would never send out those photos that I really, really messed up. But when it's a free photo, for example, I pursuers walking past me, I'm like, okay, give me 5 seconds, I'll take a photo of you, and the photo doesn't turn out well. Especially when starting out, I think that's a better idea. But I think we can disagree on that, or have to.
Yeah, it would be boring if we agreed on everything. Well, I see our time is up. Thank you for listening. I hope you had fun. I did. We are now on YouTube and Spotify, and you can leave comments on both. If you've commissioned a photographer before, please let us know how you judge the results. And also, if you have any idea what our next episode should be about, let us know. Have a good day and have a good light for your photos.
See you around.